Good morning. Having looked at the struggle in Romans 7, we now come to Romans 8. And Romans 8 begins to give us the resources by which we can live the spiritual life. And similar in some ways to Romans 6, we start with issues of identity. I want to begin in verse 1, and you get to see, I'll call it the anatomy of life in Christ. Romans 8:1. There is therefore, in light of what he said, in light of the struggle, in light of all that God has done in Christ that was established in chapter 6, there is therefore now no condemnation. That means ultimate judgment. This is not talking about discipline. It's not even talking about a fatherly punishment. There is no condemnation, meaning no legislative, ultimate judgment for those who are in Christ Jesus. Now, why is that? Well, that is because the nature of life in Christ is that we have been covered by Christ. Think of when Paul says that your life, imagine, is hidden in Christ, in God. That language is that God now sees you, right? Hidden in Christ. And he has accepted his Son. And in accepting his Son, he has therefore accepted those who are in Christ, identified positionally in him. This is the great emphasis of Ephesians chapter 1, with all the spiritual blessings that are in Christ. So there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Now, where does this land? Let's think practically. You sin, you confess that sin to the Lord, and you still feel guilty about it, and that guilt leads you to doubt things about your salvation and causes you to even doubt things about God's love for you. This verse is an important verse because it's a reminder, not that what you did was acceptable, but rather that what you did has not produced condemnation or ultimate judgment for you, because that was removed in Christ. So the idea that you would sin and somehow it would make you feel as though you are in danger of ultimate condemnation, if in fact you're in Christ, right? Then goodness, the devil sows those seeds of doubt. Now, of course, if we pattern sin in ways, 1 John teaches us that we should wonder, hey, wait a minute, a Christian doesn't just pattern sin and isn't content to sin. But if you're discontented in it, which would be the indication that you feel this sense of guilt and so forth, then you need to be reminded that Christ was judged for you. And him being judged for you now should lead to a place where you don't feel condemned. And you can reject the messages of condemnation that the devil throws at you. Think about that today and rejoice in the salvation that Christ has given you.